Broomehill is a town located 302 kilometres southeast of Perth on the Great Southern Highway between Katanning and Albany in the Great Southern region of Western Australia. The town of Broomehill owes its creation to the Great Southern Railway, which was completed in 1889. A group of settlers from the now extinct town of Edicup moved to the present site of Broomehill to help establish a township after the construction of the railway was completed. The economy of the area is dependent on wheat and sheep farming, although recently farmers have diversified into viticulture and aquaculture in the form of barramundi farming. When gold was discovered near Coolgardie, Western Australia in 1892, fortune seekers arrived by steamer in Albany to start the long trek to the goldfields. There was an obvious advantage for potential prospectors in a direct route with support from businesses along the way that would benefit from the passing trade. In spite of previous failed attempts, John Holland, an experienced bushman, mounted a carefully planned expedition to not only find a way, but also cut a track that could be used immediately by horse-drawn conveyances. The explorers left Broomehill in April 1893 and in 2 months and 4 days cut a track of over 500 kilometres through dense thickets between Broomehill and Coolgardie. 18,000 people used the short cut over the next 3 years, up until the last link of the railway to Coolgardie was completed, providing a rail link to the goldfields. The southern half of the track was largely incorporated into the expanding wheat growing areas during the 1920s. For almost a century, the northern half, from east of Hyden to Coolgardie, was all but abandoned and the area reverted back to pristine bushland except for some intrusions by sandalwood cutters. Present-day access is a tribute to Broomehill farmer Graham Newby and researcher Adrian Malloy, who were determined to reopen the track. They led a group in November 1992 and with the aid of Graham's tractor succeeded in cutting the track from Wattle Rocks, about 22 kilometres north of the Hyden-Norseman Road, to Thursday Rock, about 70 kilometres south of Coolgardie. In principle from Calm to extend the track north of Thursday Rock, where the current Newby track ends, to an alignment much closer to that of Holland Track, thus preserving another significant part of the state's history for recreational four-wheel drivers to enjoy. This is the start of the Holland Track. The first bit of it is actually up through farmland and will be until we get to the Hyden-Norseman Road, I would believe. There'll be some public roads which have been marked over the top of the Holland Track, but this is where it starts down to the Broomehill end. On either side of the road is farmland. This is Lake Coracup, and it's a salt lake, and as you can see, dry as a bone. April, Easter 2009. You approach the Katanning-Narrabeen Road and then you head right in towards Narrabeen. Clobrup is our next stop. So we're on the Bitumen Road at this point in time. We did pass a sign back there which showed the Holland Track to the left. Of course, that's where the original Holland Track went, but it's across farmland, so obviously the track can't be routed across that. This is Nyabing.
21 years since I've been here. We came here for our last practice match before Country Week 1988. I got 16 batting at 3, but I got caught behind on 6 and no one appealed.
I'm at the play out here after I jam a finger in the door in the car.
Doing something back in those days. I stuck some scissors through your arm at one stage too, didn't you, at the sound centre?
This is the site of the original Holland tank built by John Holland in 1890. In those days, tanks were built into the ground so water could flow and seep into them. Today, you'll just see the overgrown depression in the ground, but this is what Holland used to store water and was his base for his sandalwood pulling operation. The Holland Track just continues on and winds in and around through farmland, and we're just coming off the Kirringup Road now and to the south of Kirringup Road. Just running through farmland. We're on the Holland Tank Road, and there's the view as we come over the top of a hill. It's beautiful farmland just ahead of us. Still running along formed roads through farming country. The Holland Tank, and the party camped here on the 26th of April 1893. In behind the tank there's this big rock, massive rock. This is Holland rock, and built along the edges of the rock are retainer walls. The idea of the walls is to any water that, when it rains, water falls on the rock, runs down and is then channeled by the walls down and into the tank. It's not marked, but as you come down the Mallee Road and you come to Wattle Hill, right on the GPS marking there's a track up the hill, and if you zap past it and don't see it, you miss it. Up there there's a plaque. We'll go up and have a bay peep. As you get to the top of the road, there's a sign, HT, an arrow. If we look across, marked on the stone over there, looks like the plaque we're looking for. Obviously came through here. All of a sudden the roads got busy. We've come out from where the plaque was, and there's a car ahead of us. There was one coming up behind us, so whether they're also doing the Holland Track or not, or whether it just so happens a couple of farmers out for the day. But we're now heading for the Holland Rock Road, or for the Holland Track, which should take us up over the Newdigate Road. So it says Holland's Track Road. We're still running through Salt Lake country. The Salt Lakes run all the way through from the Great Southern out through Lake Grace, Newdigate, that area. Railway lines running alongside of us. We just hit the bitumen again, and we're just approaching now Lake Biddy. This is Lake Biddy, the historic site. Foundation stone blessed and placed in position by Father Ralph, Bishop of the Diocese, on the 27th of February 1965. Well, out of Mount Betty and heading further north at this point in time, northeast on the Witham Road, and still formed roads. And out to the side, it's farming country. These roads follow fairly generally the course cut through the bush by Holland and his team, but obviously because of the release of pastoral land and the fact that the track hadn't been preserved, obviously the roads can't follow the exact route. It's getting late on day one, and this is the road we're travelling on, and it's easy running. It has been for much of the day, so the early part of the trip, as I said, is all on formed roads, apart from the very beginning out of Broomehill, but other than that, the major track I would imagine will be for us tomorrow. Just gone 6 o'clock and it's Saturday morning, Easter Saturday. Look at that sky. Beautiful. This is where we are, gravel pit. It's on the corner of the Holland Track. It's not the only thing that's staring at the bloody flies. It's 8:19, day 2. This is Easter Saturday, and we are on the Holland Track proper now, pretty well. Still surrounded by farmland. Our next stop is Emu Rock. This is Emu Rock. It's a salt lake out to one side of it. There's campfires all around the place here, so it's certainly a nice camping spot. Especially if we turn around 180 degrees. In there, certainly nice camping. Flies are very friendly out in this area. This is the track leading into, or out of, depending which way you're going, of course, Emu Rock. Same on the other side of the rock. So the track sort of winds around the salt lake. If you're driving out of here, the lake is to the right of me, which is to the east, and to the left continues what I assume to be all part of Emu Rock. And as you come out of the track, heading towards Coolgardie, you come across a plaque. There's a little camping area just being utilised, and there's the lake out there. If you've got anything wider than a Land Cruiser, you're certainly going to have a fair bit of paint taken off the side of your car. It's quite narrow. Country opens up just a little bit just here as the lake disappears behind us. If you find gates open, you leave them open. If you find them shut, you close them behind you. This one was shut. This is the state barrier fence. You just come through that gateway and we're continuing on. Once you come through the fence, the track has opened out a little bit, the country's opened out a bit, because we're away from that salt lake, of course. We're approaching the Hyden-Norseman Road. And here is the road. Now, as you come out onto the Norseman Hyden Road, there's also a little pull-off with some information.